We are now joined with David and Mechi. David is the head of the yeshiva in Sderot. And thank you so much for joining us in this very difficult evening. So your story is interesting because your son practically saved the lives of dozens of people.
Hundreds.
Take us back to the morning of October 7th.
The truth is, the morning of October 7th, we had no idea what my son was doing. We were very involved in doing here in Sderot. His whole story I only found out Pesach time, Passover time, about 6 months later, because he didn't talk about it. He was too traumatized. He just worked like a robot. It was only afterwards. Okay. You want to start? 6 o'clock in the morning, the men already went to synagogue. It was a holiday, and the plan had been that about 8 o'clock, my married son, would come back to the house, and we would dress the 4 kids and take them out while his wife would stay with the newborn for a few hours of rest and relaxation. But at 6:30 in the morning, there was a Tzeva Adom, a red alert. I had to wake up the kids and send them down to the safe room. I had to carry 2 kids down myself. And then when I was there with my daughter-in-law, she said, just tell your son, my husband, that he shouldn't leave us by ourselves. Please, he should come home. Ran upstairs, got dressed, and on the way to the yeshiva, I hear shooting in Sderot. 30 years I've been living in Sderot. 23 years of Qassam missiles, but never shooting. I didn't understand what was happening, and I ran to the yeshiva. My husband saw me. The place was deserted. There was no one outside. He was outside with one guy talking, talking very quickly with his hands, and he said, quickly, upstairs. Get upstairs fast.
It's important to say that coming back to this spot is very emotional for us because this is the spot that our guys came down and were able to kill terrorists. People on the way told them, don't go. They're terrorists. They said, that's why we're going. And they sought the combat and to confront, and they were able to kill 2 terrorists, which helped make sure the terrorists would stay in their building.
Just explain, our guys are your students that serve in the army, but also are part of the Torah institution. And they had their guns with them that day, their rifles. Okay.
Simchat Torah is a very special day. And this year, we're going to be doing it even on a higher scale. We go out and we dance with the whole city. So we really had a lot of great plans for that day. But instead of going out to dance, our guys came down to fight. And we're very proud of them because they weren't afraid. The Palestinians took everything into account, that the army, that the police, that the Kitot Koranut, those special units, and the intelligence is not really working. They didn't take into account the heroism of citizens. And that's something very special.
One of the most known footage, of the first footage that we got from on October 7th, I remember myself being in the shelter in my house, and then I saw terrorists in Sderot in these white vehicles that we all know and we all can reflect and imagine in our heads. How did you feel hearing about this beloved Sderot of yours taken over by terrorists?
That's what that young man was telling my husband. That young man was a first alert guy who was running after he heard the Qassam to see if there's anyone he had to save, anyone he could help in the first aid station. He's the one that saw those terrorists in the van right here on the street. And he ran to the yeshiva. He ran and he told my husband. And that's where my husband was in the middle of when I came. So we knew about it before it was on the news, before it was in the
At that
cameras.
point, it was really a miracle for the terrorists that they didn't come up. Because had they come up at that point, we were ready with a lot of ammunition and a lot of guns, and the guys had bullets ready, and they would have no chance. But thank God they didn't give us that opportunity because we were able to stop them here.
So the spirit didn't even stop for a second on October 7th.
That's the main point. The dancing continued. Of course, we didn't realize the magnitude. And of course, the songs were really, really prayer.
Yeah, the songs that we sang, it was not a happy dancing. It was hugging the Torah scrolls and just beseeching God that he should save our people and that we should come out of this stronger. And every song that we sang were slow songs of prayer, as opposed to the normal happy songs that we would have sang. I actually knew, because there was a guy who had his phone with him. He was going with his pregnant wife, and they wanted to cross the street here. And my other son, the one who was a commander in the army, he said to him, no, get back up, get up into the yeshiva. The yeshiva is it's a protected building. It's built against Qassam, bulletproof doors and windows. So it's considered a fortress. So he said, get up there. And this guy didn't touch his phone, but he just read the messages that were going. And we knew in the women's section, Dov, that there were 25 places being hit at the same time. And we realized that those red alert signals were just a cover-up for the terrorist infiltration. And it made us feel very big, that we're part of something big. It's not just Sderot, that, far-off city that's been getting for 23 years, but it's everyone. There's a lot of places that are getting it. I want to remind you about the speeches. Maybe you remember one of the speeches you made. At that point, the boys in our yeshiva, a lot of them are newcomers. They were just there for maybe a month. They were scared. And one rabbi after another got up and spoke about the Simchat Torah celebrations during the Holocaust, after the Holocaust, the Yom Kippur War, about wars that we Jews have fought and won, and it gave such strength. It was it was very strengthening. Do you remember what you said?
We described in 1942, my father described that there was a lot of singing in New York, and someone came in and burst into the room and said, how could you sing when there's a Holocaust going on? And we told the guys maybe he was right, but in Israel today, we have an army, we have intelligence, we have police. But I think our major message is that there's a whole new generation of young, courageous, spirited leaders that are willing to really put their lives online and really willing to combat. And I think the terrorists didn't take that into account. They didn't realize that there'd be so much civilian resistance and so effective. And that, in many ways, really saved the town and saved the whole country. And we have to be aware of a whole generation of spirited, courageous heroes.
So speaking of these courageous heroes, I can tell that your son was one of them.
Yes, we're very proud of him.
So he basically built a field hospital on the way to Sderot, and he basically received Nova survivors and the kibbutzim survivors. Mm-hmm. Tell us about it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We didn't know what he knew. In other words, until we turned on our phones and internet, and that was only after the Chag went out at like 8 o'clock at night.
Because you don't use your phones during the Chag.
We did not know about the barbaric hedonism of these inhuman savages that came to torture and to kill and to maim our brothers and sisters. We didn't know about it. And I'm happy because at least we did have a feeling of Chag. But my son was right in the middle of it. He saw it. He saw the people coming out, people that were like dazed. They said, wow, we're seeing someone that's alive, because all they had seen from their house, 14 hours holed up in the shelter, little children held up in a closet watching their parents being murdered. They actually had two kids come to their house. The daughter was covered with her mother's blood. They thought she died, so they didn't try shooting her.
Yeah.
And what he showed and what his wife showed, he organized that field hospital. He actually saw that the army was organizing a field hospital down the road across the street. He went to them with his car. He said, no, come to us. We have it much better organized. We have much more medical equipment, more doctors and nurses. Let's join forces. They came. And then he heard that there was something happening in Saad. And he also went there and he brought them over. So he set up a field hospital, and then he united the field hospital. And there's that amazing story. You want to tell that story?
We have to finish, but we thank him for this courage of him and for making and saving so many lives. And thank you for being here and telling this story. And
I just want to say, he's one of many. There's so many heroes, and we're proud of them all.
We are too. Thank you very much.
And we're here to stay. And the Gaza Strip will be Jewish. It has to be Jewish. We can't have people that want to kill us, terrorists, as our next door neighbors. We're talking about half a mile away, 1 kilometer. We cannot have that happen.
Thank you.
So we're here to stay. Sderot is ours, and also the Gaza Strip. Thank you.
Thank you very much.